Now, I want you to keep in mind while we're talking about this next couple of stuff. I know you, especially you, Alex, you get upset when I talk about too much bad stuff. But the reason is, I'm going to end it. I'm going to end it on a good note. But sometimes you got to talk about the bad stuff, especially when the bad stuff is being fixed. But you want to know what has been fixed. If you don't know what was bad going on, then you can't appreciate what was fixed. You understand what I'm saying? Because once you understand how horrible the bad stuff is, then you can better appreciate and be thankful that it's being fixed. The thing about it though is when I was like you too years ago, I didn't want to hear about the bad stuff. You know why I didn't want to hear about the bad stuff? 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Because when I was hearing about the bad stuff was so bad and nobody was doing anything about it. And nobody was talking about it except me. And every time I talked about it, the police came and raided my house or raided my office. Or a court gave me a court order to appear in court. So it felt like I was fighting the whole world by myself. And when that CIA agent came into the office and said, "You better stop it, they're going to kill you." And then a few months later, they burnt the store down to the ground. I was by myself fighting. That's when I quit. I gave up because nobody was helping me. You understand? Yeah. In this case, it's being fixed. It's being fixed right now. So I'm going to teach you some of the bad stuff, but I'm going to show you how it's being fixed. In the end, the last thing we're going to talk about, the last 5 minutes, is how it's being fixed. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of how it's being fixed. But it's a complicated thing. I will go into it in detail later. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is something that's going on in current events. Okay, right now in current events, what's going on is there is currently by the way, you guys, correct me if I make a spelling error. I'm not used to writing on a dry erase board. I'm used to writing on a piece of paper. If I make a spelling error, let me know. I don't want a video that has a spelling error that remains for a long time. Okay, so tell me if I make a spelling error. So right now there's currently a government shutdown going on. This is current events. This government shutdown started October 1st. What's a government shutdown? You guys have any idea? Is your news talking about it all? Your TikTok or anything like that? What do you know about? Huh? Okay. Well, sometimes it just pops up in your TikTok while you're going through. Do you have any idea what it is, Ange? Okay.
Everyone's getting fired?
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. Okay. Now, why are they getting fired? So what's going on is, as of October 1st of this year, the government is currently shut down. Why is it currently shut down? Okay. Why is it going shut down? Is every year the government, which is Congress, which is, again, the House of Representatives and the Senate, right? Alexa, how many representatives in the House of Congress, United States government?
The United States House of Representatives has 435 seats.
See, it changed all the time. Last time we did this was 444 or something. And there's 100 senators, right? So it's the job of these people to every year come up with a budget. The budget is how much money is going to go to the highways, how much money is going to go to this state, how much money is going to go to the courts, how much money is going to go to the military. They have to a detailed budget of how all the government's going to spend all the money, right? October 1st this year, these guys did not approve any budget. So because they didn't approve any budget, there is no money that can be spent to go to the government. So the guys who work for the police, the military, the Navy, the airport, the air traffic controllers.
People don't get money.
Okay, so when they don't approve, when the Congress doesn't approve a budget, it's even any kind of business. If you have a business and no budget's approved, the money stays locked up in the bank. You can't spend it if you're on the board of directors of a company. The board of directors can't spend the money, can't allocate the money if there's been no budget approval. You can't just start writing checks. There's no approval. So they can't write any money. So everybody who's working for the sheriff's office, the police department, the FBI, all the government, the border patrol, ICE, all these guys can't get paid. That also goes for FEMA, the guys who go to disasters. It also goes for TSA, who controls the security in the airports. So if all these guys are not getting paid, we got a big problem, because now they're not getting paid. They technically, and the post office too, no mail is supposed to get delivered either. Technically, they're going to work anyways, because these are essential services that have to be done. Like if you call 911, someone's got to answer the phone. If a robbery is going, the police have to show up, right? So all these people are going to work and not get paid. Now, when the shutdown ends, when they get their act together and vote on it, eventually they'll get paid all their back pay later. But with the current economy so rough right now, all these people, they need their money now to buy food and pay their mortgage and pay their electric bill and pay their phone bill. They need the money now, right? So, but for now, they won't get paid. Now, let's talk about why the budget didn't get approved, okay? This pen's not working too good. Let me change pens. Why didn't this get approved? Okay. For the last year, since the election, and since January 1st or January 20th of this year, there has been an organization in government called DOGE. You guys know what DOGE is? What do you know about it, Alex? Huh? What DOGE is this was an organization of people that were supposed to go through the entire government and find all the waste and fraud. I'm sorry, I'm writing weird. And abuse. They were tasked with finding, right now, the government, up until last year, the government spends about 6.5 trillion. I know, hard to write this. The government spends $6.5 trillion a year to run the government. The United States government spends more money than any other country in the world. And we don't have the biggest population. There's 1.5 trillion people or billion people in China. We only have about 310 million people, but we spend more money than any other country in the world. Why? We have a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. So DOGE in this last year discovered $1.5 trillion in abuse. Wasted money. Remember how I talked about yesterday? The politicians got a bad habit of wasting people's money. $1.5 trillion. Whose money is that, Yana? If it's the government's money, whose money is it? Who's the government in the United States? The people. Very good, sweetie. The people. That's the people's money. $1.5 trillion of the people's money is wasted. DOGE discovered this money, and they took it out. They canceled all kinds of ridiculous, stupid, bullcrap projects that were wasting money. All these taxes that they keep cranking on us to get all this money is a lot of it's being wasted. But this, they discovered in a year, $1.5 trillion wasted money. So DOGE took this waste out and is now saving the U.S. taxpayers $1.5 trillion. Okay? Which gets us back to, why did the government shut down? Half of the government wanted, let's see, I'm going to do it this way. Half of the government wanted to pass a budget that was a straightforward budget that would pay everybody that's supposed to get paid. It would keep the government open like it's supposed to. In this case, with a $5 trillion budget. Pay the police, pay the military, pay the TSA at the airport, the security, pay the Congress, fix the roads, pay health insurance for U.S. citizens, everything. The other half of the government wanted this $1.5 trillion in fraud restored. They wanted the fraud to be restored. These are your triangle people. The ones who wanted it restored, okay? Now, we're going to get into why they wanted it restored here in a second. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything. Okay. So, we're going to watch a video here in a second. It's of one of the congressmen. This happened, I think, on Sunday or Saturday, where they're discussing some of the things that were included in this 1.5 trillion that they wanted to restore. I'm going to give you a hint real quickly here. Out of these people here in the House, the way you get the budget passed, let's just do this here for a second. Put Doge here. The way you get the budget passed is it goes to the House of Representatives first. You need the majority. Yeah, more than half. You need the majority to vote for the budget. So they needed, in this case, it's what's that? 218, 218, right? Am I right? Yeah. So you need 218 votes. Yeah, I'm right. So you need 218 votes in the House to pass the bill, correct? All of the Republicans voted to pass. That means all Republicans voted to pass the bill with the 1.5 trillion fraud removed. All of the Democrats voted no. Which means all of them voted no budget, until this 1.5 trillion in waste, fraud, and abuse is restored. They want all 1.5 trillion restored. Why would they want that? Think. Now remember, part of our learning is what we do on Friday, being a detective. So they can steal something. They are all triangle people. And unfortunately, when you're a triangle person, you're a criminal. You're evil, you're a criminal. Your whole life is based on stealing. If you can't steal anymore, you have no purpose in life. All their houses, their cars, their businesses are all reliant on stealing. What is also reliant on stealing? Are they physically stealing the money? We're going to see a video in a second. Are they physically stealing the money? No. Remember how we talked about yesterday? If I'm given this $5,000, right? The government's watching me. You got to imagine the politicians are like this. Like there's cameras on them all the time. They're watching me. If they give me $5,000, can I put it in my pocket? No. But I can give it to you and say, there's $5,000 for, I want you to make a transsexual cartoon. Do I care if you make the cartoon? No. I hired you to make it, but do I care if you ever do make it? No, I don't care if you make it. Give me half the money back. But don't give it to me. Put it in my bank account in your country. Did I steal it?
Yes, but I don't know that.
That's called money laundering. You stole it. Because you're what? A criminal, right? So you stole it because you're a criminal. And you made a deal because I'm working with you because we're friends, right? Because we're friends. I'm a criminal too. You're a criminal, and we're friend criminals. But you're the real criminal. You're the guy with the guns and the assassins and the hitmen and the bad guys. But because we're friends, you took half of it and you put the other half in my bank account, right? Right?
Yeah.
What happens now if we have a deal and the fraud is removed and I can't give you your $5,000 anymore? And you're a criminal. Are you happy? You're mad, right? Where's my freaking $1 billion, right? What are you going to do? Sue you? They're criminals. Is he going to sue me? Or is he going to send a hit squad to my house to kill my whole family? You get what I'm saying? That's why they're furious. That's why they will not. They don't care if the cops get paid, if the military gets paid. They don't care if your mail gets delivered. They don't care if anything happens. I want my money, and my partners better get their money, or they're going to freaking kill me. You understand? Okay. Now we're going to watch a video here. And what I want you to watch in the video, this is a congressional hearing that happened on Sunday where one of the senators was talking about some of the stuff in here that was removed that somebody once put back in.
Oh my God.
Okay? Okay, let's watch and see if it saved it.
Now, those are the demands. Those are the demands. I'll just mention, I'll mention one more. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez got very, very upset, as did the socialist wing of her party, when the president sent over what's called a rescission package. Basically, President Trump just said, we want you to take some stuff out of the budget that we think is wasteful. And we did. And that upset the Congresswoman. She's entitled to be upset if she wants to. But that really upset the socialist wing of the party. And so we took out, and here's what they want us to put back in. We found that under President Biden, they were spending $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia. We took that out. The Congresswoman says, we're going to shut down government until you put that back in. We found $500,000 of American taxpayer money for electric buses in Rwanda. We found $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. It was in the budget under President Biden. We took it out. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in the socialist wing, the loon wing of the Democratic Party, says we're going to shut down government until you put it back in. I'll just read you a few more that we took out. They are demanding we put back in. $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians. $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal. $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho. $882,000 for social media mentorship in Serbia. $4.2 million. We took it out. The Congresswoman and the socialist wing of their party says we've got to put that back in for the open government. $4.2 million for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex people in the Western Balkans and Uganda. I could spend the rest of the afternoon here. We took all that out. It upset Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. It upset the socialist wing of her party. And now that wing of her party and the Congresswoman are threatening all other Democrats and saying, you've got to shut that government down until we get what we want. And part of what they want is to add this kind of stuff back into the bill.
That's a good point. Good point, Rose. Go say that one more time for the camera.
Right.
Say that one more time. That's a good point. You caught that. I want to make sure you caught that.
Most of, I can't hear it anyway.
It's okay. Say it.
Right. Most of the, what are they called? Bills?
Well, most of those programs, like you said, aren't even in the United States. Not in USA. Now, he just mentioned maybe 5 or 6. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of those programs in the bill. I erased it already. The $6.5 trillion. Why does the U.S. have the highest budget in the whole world? Most of that is fraud, theft, and abuse. Most of it. They only caught 1.5 trillion so far, but most of that is fraud and abuse. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of programs like you saw in that video. Now, like you said, Rose, most of those things weren't even in the United States. They were giving, what was that? Transsexual videos and training for prostitutes in Haiti? What does that have to do with the U.S.? Yeah, but what does it have to do with the United States? Who are these congressmen and senators for? Who do they work for? Remember, each state has 2 senators, and each state has several representatives based on the population. These congressmen, senators, and representatives work for their people. They work for the people in their state. We have 2 senators in Nevada, and I think we have about 7 or 6 congressmen. Who do those people work for? The residents of Nevada. What the hell are they going to Uganda? But you'll see in the news all the time, all these congressmen and senators are going all over the world. They're going to Uganda, they're going to Ukraine, they're going to South Africa, they're going to Nepal, they're going to all these countries. Why? Think, detective skills. Remember we talked about yesterday, if you got this huge pile of money, trillions, and you work for the government, you're a triangle person, can you take that money directly? But can you spend it? So in order to get this money, you have to go in here, go to another country, let's say Somalia, and say, I'm going to give you, Somalia, $1 billion for a transgender high school. Or for a regular high school. I'm going to give you $1 billion for a high school. Do I care if the high school is ever built? No. Give me my cut so that I can get some money out of that pile, and I don't care what you do to the money. Who did I make the deal with in Somalia? Good people? Honest businessmen?
Nope.
Criminals. The criminals took the money, stole it, gave me my cut. I don't care what they do with it. They stole it. And if eventually my cut stops coming to them, what happens? I'm indebted to the criminals. I have a deal with the criminals. If my cut doesn't keep flowing to them, if my money doesn't keep flowing to them, regardless if I get my cut, but if they don't get their cut, they're going to do something illegal, bad. Why? That's what criminals do. Does that make sense? The one thing I forgot over here to mention, I got over here. So we need 218 votes from the House. So the House of Representatives, like I said, all of the Republicans voted to pass. All Democrats voted to no. Because there are more representatives in the House, the majority won, the House won. I mean, the Republicans won, so it was passed in the House of Representatives. Once it goes to the House of Representatives, it then goes to the Senate for their final vote. Right now, I think it's uneven. I think in the House, there are 53 Republicans, and there are, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 47 Democrats. Okay? So there's the majority is Republicans, right? But unfortunately, to pass the budget in the Senate, you need a supermajority. Yeah, you remember that word, right? What's a supermajority? Exactly. You need a supermajority is 2/3. So out of the 100, you don't need 51, you need 67. Only 3 Democrats voted for it. The other 45 voted no. So it didn't pass because you didn't reach the 67 threshold. You didn't reach the supermajority threshold.
47 minus 3 is 45.
Where were we at?
47 and
Oh, so yeah, if you, oh, 3, so yeah, so 44. Okay. So they didn't have enough. So if you put those 3 over here, so then you had 56. You need like 11 more. So it didn't pass. Because these guys, the other 47, refused to vote for it. Why? They want this fraud, abuse, theft to be restored. Why? They're indebted to gangsters. And they want their cut of the pile. It's important to know, I'm sure you guys know this. Let's find out. Alexa, what does a U.S. senator make per year?
Sorry, I don't know that.
Come on. What is the annual Alexa, what is the annual salary of a U.S. senator?
A senator receives a salary of $174,000 US dollars.
Okay. Now here's another important question. Okay, this is how much a senator makes. Senator makes more than a House of Representatives person. Here's an important question. I just asked Alexa. I just asked Alexa, how much does a senator make? She says, I can't answer that. Why did she say that? I didn't think like a detective. I didn't ask what the salary was. When I asked what their salary was, she gave me the answer. When I asked how much do they make, she couldn't answer it. Why? Do you think Alexa knows that a lot of them are stealing money? Yeah, she does. She's attached to the internet, to the computer. When I asked how much do they make, she wouldn't tell me because I didn't ask a specific question. Their salary is $174,000. Do you think that's what they make?
No.
Most of the congressmen and senators are multi-millionaires. When Hillary Clinton was a senator, she became a billionaire. How do you become a billionaire on $174,000 a year? You don't. You don't. The only way you become a multimillionaire or as a billionaire is you got to get into this pile of trillions. That's the only way you get that kind of money. So you have to work out scams. You have to go to different countries, find gangsters and criminals who will make vague contracts with you and vague deals. I'm going to write you a check to build an internet facility in Ukraine. Do I care if it's ever built? No. Do I care if it's blown up the day after it's built? No. I'm going to send you $1 billion to the Ukraine, built an internet facility, built a hospital, built a school. I'll get you the money. You make sure that my cut gets into my bank account. I don't care if you built it. I don't care what you do with the rest of the money. I don't care if it blows up the next day. Just give me my cut. But then again, now this person's making millions, but they're indebted to the criminals. Does that make sense? So this is why this whole thing is going on. That's why the government, and what's going to happen is their fears right now is the budget may never get passed because these guys, the triangle people, are not letting this go. We have to restore all this stuff or we're screwed. We need our money, we need our cut of the pile, and our gangster friends need their cut of the pile or we're screwed. So that's why they're holding out so strongly. We need our cut, our gangster friends need their cut. You have to restore this money, and they're going to fight to the death for it. They don't care if the military gets paid. They don't care if the post office gets paid. They don't care if the budget gets, they don't care any of that stuff. They don't care about the American people. They want their cut, and they want their gangsters cut back.
So did they all stop working?
Well, here's what's happened. That's a good point again. You're right on top of it. Okay. What's happening now is that Donald Trump and the Republicans, well, not really the Republicans, because don't get me wrong, do you think some Republicans can be triangle people?
Probably.
Probably a lot of them are. But all of the Democrats are triangle people. Okay? Now, what was I going to say? What was your question again, Rosie? What was your question? I went because you know who's watching is K-pop people.
Oh, I said, so is everyone not working?
Okay.
Or did they stop working?
They stop working. Okay. Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. So what's going on now? Here's what's going on now is that Trump, the president, and the government, in particular, Doge, or what's left of Doge, do they believe there's still a lot more fraud in the 5 trillion that's left? Yeah, there's still a lot more. There is still a lot more fraud in the 5 trillion. So since the government is shut down, the government can't pay all these crazy programs, right? So what they're allowed to do now is one-sidedly go through the whole budget and cut off funding to all the stuff that's obvious fraud. So if all of a sudden they go through the budget and they find out that $500 billion is going to illegal immigrants, health insurance, welfare, Social Security, can they cut that out? Yeah. It's illegal. They don't have to go to Congress now to vote on it. Before they would have had to go to Congress and vote. Do we cut off this $500 billion to illegal immigrants? They would have to go to Congress and vote on it. Now they don't have to. Why? There's no budget. The government's shut down. If you want to pay the military and the police, you got to cut something out. Stop all payments to hospitals and doctors who are treating illegal immigrants. So that's what's going to happen. They're going to cut off all the fraud that's going to crooked doctors, crooked hospitals that are accepting illegal immigrants. That's just one thing. And they're going to go through every part of the government. Anybody who is supposedly working at a government job that's supposed to be in an office, who is working at home and doing absolutely nothing, what are they going to get? Fired. They've already gotten rid of like 300,000 people. 300,000 people since Sunday were given the opportunity. They sent out a memo and they said, there is no money to pay you. You're not doing any work anyways because you're lazy criminals just stealing money from the government. We're going to give you an option. You can quit now and we'll pay you for the next 7 months. But after that, you don't have a job. And you can't sue us for loss of your job because you quit. And 300,000 people who were wasting the money anyways, who weren't working anyways, quit and are getting what they call a severance package. They're getting months of pay without working, but at least the government was able to remove them because they weren't doing any work anyways. Instead of paying them for the next 10, 20, 30 years for doing nothing, they're paying them for 3 months to do nothing, and then they quit. They're gone. And also, they're going through the ones who didn't quit. There are still hundreds of thousands of people in government who are doing nothing. They're just lazy. They're not doing any work. Working from home, but not working from home. They're doing nothing. So they're going through, the Doge and Trump are going through the whole government and firing everybody who is worthless, who's doing nothing. They're cutting aid to countries that don't deserve it. And now we're going to save the country trillions of dollars on top of it. One thing I want to talk about. What does this What does this kind of sound like? Where's my eraser? Did I put it on the other side? Yeah. Okay, let's go this. Let me see what time it is. I don't want to make this one too long, but make sure we got time. Okay. 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 Now, this is something we're going to talk about in the next couple of days as well. This has to do with the book we read. We read last year, but we finished this year. What's that, Yana? Art of War. The book we read, Art of War. Does it mean just war? Can government be at war without weapons and guns firing off? If you got a bunch of triangle people spending $6.5 trillion of the people's money and constantly increasing this and constantly, eventually, the people are going to collapse and can't do it anymore and going to go bankrupt. So the art of war is, in order to fight this, sometimes you have to go around the enemy in a unique way to get it done. Let's remove something. Let's remove 1.5 trillion in fraud from the government. We know what's going to happen. We know triangle people are going to get furious. Let's put pissed. We know that the budget's going to come due next year. The budget always comes due in October. October 1st is the first year of the budget or something. So we're going to remove Trump and Doge. See, this was planned many, many years ago. This is art of war. This was planned many, many years ago. Doge and Trump, as soon as they got into office in January, hire Doge, go through every program, remove all the fraud. They removed 1.5 trillion in fraud. They knew the triangle people would get pissed. They knew October would come. They knew the triangle people were going to get threats from their criminal organizations, get us our money or else. And they knew that the triangle people would shut down the government. You get it? And what does that allow them to do? Fire, waste, and save another trillions of dollars. This is typical art of war. This is what they wanted all along, to take the budget from 6.5 trillion, probably down to 2 trillion, maybe even 1 trillion. Let's say 2 trillion, okay? That's what they wanted all along, to reduce the budget from 6.5 trillion to 2 trillion. In order to do it, they did this first, removed some of the fraud, a lot of the fraud, probably a lot of the fraud where they knew certain politicians were getting a certain amount of money. They knew which politician was getting money from Haiti for prostitutes training. They knew which politicians were getting money for comic books, in transgender comic books in Somalia. They knew all these politicians. They knew which ones were getting which money from which places. So they removed all those programs because they knew those triangle people would be pissed. Where's my money? And where's my criminals, gangsters' money? So when October 1st came along, they shut down the government by voting no. Art of war, they knew they were going to do that, and that now gives them open war on the fraud and abuse. Alex, why are you looking at your phone? Put it down. Put it down. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Art of war. This is what they wanted all along. But did they go there with guns and shoot them and say, stop sending money to Somalia or we'll shoot you? No. You can't fight a war like that Always. You can't always fight with war. Sometimes you got to fight a war with information and money. Or in this case, by removing the money. When you remove the money, you can cause just as much damage than if you use guns and tanks. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Do you get it too, Yana? So art of war, that's what they wanted all along. Now this is going to continue. The shutdown is going to continue. And all the meantime is more and more money is going to be removed, and the debt, this 1.5 trillion in waste, is going to increase. I mean, the savings is going to increase. It's going to go to 2 trillion. It's going to go to 2.5 trillion. It's going to go to 3 trillion. The longer this shutdown takes place, the more fraud, abuse, and waste and theft they're going to remove, and the more money we're going to save in the government. What does that mean? The more money we're going to save in the government? That means the less money that the people have to pay in taxes.
Woo.
With me so far?
Yep.
Okay, so that's that part. Let me see. Okay, now let me go through. Now that's just going through this. This is just the criminal aspect of it. Okay, in order for let me write this. Get this rid of this. That's just the criminal aspect. That's just the money aspect. If the people knew these politicians were doing that, and a lot of them do, would they still be politicians next time when the election comes up? No, right? How do politicians get elected? I mean, how do they stay in power, I should say? How do politicians stay in power?
People vote for them.
Yeah, people vote. Or they get elected. Okay, so the politicians, in order to stay in power, to keep feeding their pockets and feeding their criminals' pockets, they have to stay in power. Right? So they have to create projects to create voters. Remember we talked about LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, created a fair society, which is not really a fair society, is give money to blacks for welfare, food stamps, phone, pay their rent, pay their schools, pay their colleges, pay their everything. Lots of money for blacks. Why? For their vote. Right?
Yep.
Why did they increase illegal immigration?
Great question.
I spelled it wrong?
No.
Who cares? Why did they increase illegal immigration? Because now you got 20 million illegals in the country who are not supposed to be voting, but that they have given social security numbers to illegally, who can now vote. Now you're going to say, a lot of times you're going to say, okay, are they all really going to vote? If you got 20 million people, are they all going to vote? No. If there are, let me see, Alexa, how many black Americans are there living in the United States of America?
According to the 2020 U.S. Census, the African American population in the United States was 44.4 million people.
Okay. So there are 44 million blacks in the United States. Okay? Follow me along here real good. Okay? There's 44 million blacks. There's 20 illegal. Are they all going to show up to the polls and vote? No. Do they care? Do these triangle people care if they show up to the polls and vote? They would if you were required to vote. They're trying to now in government, trying to make it where voting only happens on one day and you have to go in to vote. Why would they do that? Because if you go in on one day and you have to vote, you have to go physically there, pick who you want, vote, and it's recorded. Guess what? The Triangle Democrats do not want this. They want 100%, this is what they're working for, 100% mail-in votes. What does that mean? They'll send you a ballot out in the mail, you sent it in and you vote. Do you think all these people, all 20 million illegals and all 44 million blacks are going to send their vote in? No. But think as a detective. Think as a detective. Do they care if they mail it in? No. Why? They have their social security numbers.
Do it themselves.
Exactly, Ange. The Triangle people will send in the votes for them. They have maybe 5 million, 3 million will go in and vote. The computer will register. These guys with the social security number have already voted for us. This other 50 million didn't vote yet, but we have their social security numbers. They're registered Democrats. We're just going to vote for them. We're going to mark the ballot Democrat. We're going to send it in, and that's how we're going to get our 65 million votes.
Great.
You see the scam?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let me just go through a couple more things here. What else did the Triangle people want? Let's go to the other side here.
Mommy.
No, well, let me
Isn't
get,
there more on the other side?
I know, but I want my stuff back here. Now this one's a mess. Okay,
So, bro, it's not okay.
that's fine. Okay. So when this 1.5 trillion is removed, 1.5 trillion is removed, what else was removed that they want back in there? I got a list here. This is the bigger stuff. He went through the ridiculous stuff, but I'm going to go through a bunch of the stuff. Other stuff that they removed from the 1.5 trillion in waste was free transgender surgery in prisons. So they were giving, if you go to prison, they were giving, during Biden's presidency, they were giving free sex changes if you were in prison. Now think, like a detective. Now again, I don't care about sex changes. I don't care if someone's gay. I don't care. When Mom and me went to clubbing before you guys were born in Chicago, we had a bunch of friends who were guys, but two of them had sex changes and were girls and were extremely pretty. You couldn't tell. And one was trying to get a sex change. But they were our friends. But they went to Thailand and they paid for it themselves. Right? If you want a sex change, you want to be transgender, you want to be a sex change, fine. Pay for it yourself. Right? I don't care. Pay for it yourself. Get it done, and God bless you. We can be friends. Pay for yourself.
Wasting money on criminals.
Exactly. But they want free transgender sex change surgeries for you in prison. What's going to happen when you go to Thailand or you go to a doctor and the doctor says, in order for me to do a sex change on you, that's going to be $130,000. What do we think a guy is going to do? hey, let me go rob a convenience store. Maybe I'll get 6 months in jail. But while I'm in jail, I can request $150,000 sex change and get it for free. And not for free. Who is going to pay for that sex change? The people are going to pay for that sex change. So the ones that are paying taxes, working, that are getting robbed, are going to pay for that sex change. They wanted free sex changes for people in the military. So who do you think was joining the army? Tough Marines, big tough guys? No. Weenie, scrub, homosexual, transgenders who said, hey, I need $150,000 sex change. All I got to do is join the military, work my ass off to get past basic training, and then request a sex change, and I get my sex change for free. And because a sex change is an operation, after my sex change, I get medical leave for another 3 months so I can recover. So I get paid for free for 3 months so I can recover from my sex change. So that was removed. The sex changes to prison, sex changes to military was removed from the budget. Because again, you want a sex change? God bless you, go get it done. Don't make the military pay for it. Don't make the people pay for it. They want free rent, free cars, free health care, free schools, free money to illegal immigrants. Why? It's on the other side now.
Wait, say it again.
They in the budget, this 1.5 trillion was free rent, free cars, free houses, free trucks. They give semi trucks to someone so they can run a business, free healthcare, free schools to illegal immigrants. Why? They're not supposed to vote anyways. But if we give them a social security number, can they still vote? Yeah. So they say, oh, we're not letting them vote, but you gave them a social security number. Of course they can vote. And they're not going to vote. You're just going to hire your criminals to vote for them. They were giving free truck driver's license to people who can't even speak English or read English. What's the problem with that? Can you read do you know the rules? Do you know the rules of the road in the United States? If you don't read or understand English, do you know what the signs say? No. And these guys are driving semi-trucks all over the country. You know, there are thousands of truck drivers now because of Joe Biden and their scams. There are thousands of truck drivers who are driving all over the United States who can't read or speak English, don't know what the signs say, and their driver's license that was given to them by the Triangle Democrats says for their name, no name given. That's their name on the driver's license. So when they get pulled over, they give it to the policeman. The license says, no name given. And the Democrats think that's fine. That's legally, let them drive. No name given. Where are we at? They want to give free abortions. So there's free abortions to everybody. Kill babies for free. Again, if you want an abortion, you made a mistake, right? You made a mistake, you want an abortion, pay for it yourself. You made the mistake. The people, right, Yana? The people who paid the money in taxes didn't make the mistake. You made the mistake. You want an abortion? Pay for it yourself. Why do the people who are working their ass off to pay taxes have to pay for everyone's abortion? That was removed from the budget. Okay, this is just a side note. You remember how we talked about a couple times ago, how our business in Las Vegas here, how we've been robbed like 14 times by the bad guys? Did we ever get any restitution, any money back, any help back from that? No. Why?
I don't know, they claim they're homeless.
We are not Democrats. They only pay their voters. We even applied for help, and they turned us down. because we're registered, not their voters. So of course we're turned down. Okay. So basically, getting back to the point on the other side, I keep flipping this, we're almost done. Getting back to on the other side, art of war. When you have a budget that's 6.5 trillion and you removed 1.5 trillion in waste and you want to reduce it more to maybe get it down to 2 trillion, you have to remove everybody who's wasting the money. All the money that's being sent to ridiculous things. Remove all the people who are getting paid for nothing. Remove all the social security numbers of people who aren't supposed to be in the country legally. So you remove all that waste and fraud, and you're going to save trillions of dollars because you're removing the waste, the fraud, the theft, and the abuse. Okay? Okay, now to the good point. Now, the reason why I went over all this, and this is the reason I'm kind of excited right now. This and the stuff I'm going to talk to you guys about in the next few days, in a few weeks, is going to be like we talked about this morning early, is bad news. This is the government just killing us, killing the ones that are working. What we talk about tomorrow, you're going to get even more mad. You're going to see the difference between somebody who has a license contracting to work as opposed to someone who's picked up in front of Home Depot. Who do you think makes more money? The guy who works who works for cash in front of Home Depot. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow. It's because of the abuse of the system. This is the system we have now, and the system has been horrible for 120 years. It's been set up to gradually get worse to the point we're at now to make us horrible, abused. But what's going to happen is basically the whole system now is on the verge of absolute collapse. What's going to happen in the next few weeks or months is this whole system is going to collapse. The government is going to collapse because the Triangle people are not going to allow the budget to pass because they need their money, they need their voters, and they need their criminals to get money. So the government is going to start to fall apart and collapse. The banking system has to collapse. Once the banking system collapses, we're going to need a new financial system to be instituted. The new financial system what will be instituted will be called a quantum financial system. You guys ever heard that before?
Nope.
Okay. We talked about quantum physics before, right? Remember what quantum physics is? It has to do with mind reading, and it has to do with, well, we're going to talk about that. It's a huge topic later we're going to talk about. But what quantum physics is that every being in the world is connected through an energy. That you could actually read people's minds if you know what you were doing, but we can't yet. But everything is connected. We're connected to every human being. We're connected to nature. We're connected to everything. In the quantum financial system, what's going to happen is that everything will be connected. And these very powerful computers in the financial system will be able to read your intent. So when you spend money, when you take money, when you give money, it will be able to read your intent. What does that mean? What do you think? What if I was coming to you and I was going to give you some money and I was going to say, here, I want you to build a playground for kids in Ukraine. Give me half back. What's my intent? To steal. The quantum financial system will read that intent, will trigger the computer, and with hours, police will show up in my house. You're under arrest for banking fraud.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because the computer will be able to read your intent. This is going to be able to eliminate all criminals, all abuse, all theft, all fraud. When you get a call from India or Pakistan that says, oh, your computer is got a virus, I need you to wire me in Bitcoin, 1,000 Bitcoin, and I'll unfreeze it for you. The computer will read intent. It'll read where that guy's computer is. Within minutes, someone will be at that guy's place to arrest him, put him in jail for fraud. The quantum financial system that will be instituted, hopefully before the year is over, will be instituted and will be able to read the intent of all money transactions So that if your intent is good, if I was gonna, hey, you're sick and your wife is sick, here's some money for her hospital bills. Good intent goes through. Bad intent doesn't go through. Please show up and you're under arrest. That make sense? So just cross your fingers and hope that that really happens. Okay, any questions?
No.
Okay. So the next stuff we're going to talk about in the next couple of days has to do with that same thing. You know, the fraud, the abuse, where it's coming from, and why it has to be removed.